have you ever done the I'm late to my gate run through the airport?
Yeah.
I think that is the most revealing
You're sweating.
thing that you can do of where you're at in terms of your cardio. And that's every time I'm like, I am so out of shape. Even when I was doing Orange Theory all the time, like I still would run to my gate and be like, and then you're sweating. So gross.
That's the thing. The sweating is,
yeah. My seatmate's not putting out some message of, wow, she was great to sit with. Welcome into Scoop City. I'm the athletic senior NFL insider, Dianna Russini.
And I'm Chase Daniel, played 14 years in the NFL.
Chase, the rookie mini camps made headlines over the weekend. We saw top draft picks in their new uniforms, the new numbers. That's when you know it's kind of the slow season when we're making big deals over the numbers that they're picking and they're choosing.
Yeah.
But, of course, the biggest story was over the weekend with the retirement announcement from Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints that had everyone chatting all day on Saturday. But we've got a developing story coming out of Cincinnati. So let's just get right to this. We got some Trey Hendrickson updates. Here's what I'm hearing around the league. So earlier on Monday, Trey Hendrickson released a statement to ESPN saying that his camp has had zero communication with the Cincinnati Bengals since the draft. They have not had any conversations about this upcoming contract that he's looking for. Remember, he's in his final year of his current deal. He's seeking a new one. He's set to make $15.8 million in base pay next season. He wants to get this done. We've been talking about most of this Bengals contract situations most of the offseason when we're waiting to see how they were going to handle Jamar Chase, how they were going to handle T. Higgins, and now, of course, Trey Hendrickson, which we were theorizing early on, right? That we didn't think that they could get it done. And I kept hearing really good things coming out of Cincinnati. And Chase, I continue to hear that Cincinnati wants to make something work with Trey. Do I think that they're close in numbers? No. This is why you do something like this. You put out a statement because you're not happy. This is a tactic. Yeah. This is a way to negotiate. If the communication isn't there, then that tells me right now that there's a difference in the number that they're looking for.
And it's a big difference. Anytime you see these negotiations play out in public, it's never a good thing, which it just tells me they're further apart than probably some people think. Two things from this. The fact that one, that it's good news in Cincy. I just didn't know how they were going to be able to do it. I know there's salary cap implications, all this stuff. Good for them because they need him. He's had 35 sacks the last 2 years. Back-to-back seasons, 17 and a half sacks, which is crazy. Sack king, right? And the other one is, it's interesting because I played with Trey Hendrickson. He's a very, very quiet guy, great locker room guy, great leader. But when you saw him go on the Pat McAfee show a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago, and talk about the contract publicly, and then he announced on ESPN publicly again that they're having, no communication is taking place, yada, yada, yada. This is a pointed attack. I don't want to say attack, maybe tactic from the Trey Hendrickson camp and agent. Who knows if it'll work out, but it seems almost like they're trying to make the Bengals look bad. And the Bengals really haven't said anything, about it publicly. But for whatever reason, it sticks out for me because I know Trey personally. So it just tells me that they're further, like a lot further apart than what maybe people think.
Yeah, I remember when he first went on Pat McAfee. We were recording that day, and you almost couldn't believe that he did it. You're like, wait, what? Is this the same guy I know? Yeah. Which tells you that they're trying to use every piece of leverage that they have. And look, Cincinnati's a lot like many teams in the NFL. They want to keep this stuff quiet. They do not want to publicly negotiate. They do not want to let out details. I'm sure you've noticed there hasn't been a lot of discussion about the number that they're at. Sometimes by now, insiders can usually get a little bit of a feel for, right? So both sides are doing a good job of keeping that under wraps. But I think if it was up to Cincinnati right now, Trey would say nothing, and they could continue to try to work this out.
Yeah.
But the fact that they haven't had any conversations, according to Trey Hendrickson, right? Cincinnati may have their own version of this. We're never going to know, though, because they're never going to come out and say, well, actually, we've been hearing from his agent every single day. They're not going to do that.
It would just make it messier. Do you think the number starts with a 3, though? Like that's like, it would be crazy, like in the 30s, but how do they afford it? Do they keep him? Do they spread that elsewhere? I mean, what happens if they can't get to a number that they agree on? Trade?
Well, you have to move money around in order to probably make some room here, which we saw them making a couple moves recently, but I don't think anything significant enough to make us go, well, here comes the Trey bus. They're going to drop it here.
Trey bus.
But Trey is certainly going to be an option if they're not going to be able to come to an agreement. And I know that there's teams watching this and lurking and hoping that this falls through while his agent and the Bengals are trying to make this work because Hendrickson wants to be there. That has been very clear to everybody. Joe Burrow wants Trey Hendrickson there. And what Joe wants, Joe gets lately.
Yes, he does.
Which is why I still feel very optimistic about this. And I also feel optimistic because I've spoken to people that are close to it that have told me that Cincinnati still wants to make it work. They're just not in a rush right now. So I could see this thing bleeding out into camp. While I'm sure Trey wants a deal done now and he wants to move past this, this may be just one of these negotiating tactics from the Bengals side where they're just going to let him hang a little bit. So while I think when you initially see the statement from Trey, I'm sure Bengals fans are panicking, like, we're going to lose him. It's over. I don't think we're there yet. I don't believe we're in a position where I can say that the Cincinnati Bengals are planning a life without Trey Hendrickson. Yeah,
because, I mean, he is their main piece on defense. Well, one thing just to think of, I mean, I'm just thinking about this out loud, is there's really no deadlines now that the draft is passed, right? Your deadline would be training camp, maybe, to get him in there. So you do have 2 months, May to June, June, July, like 2 full months to figure this out. It seems like Trey's camp wants something to happen sooner rather than later, and the Bengals are intent on just waiting. But I would imagine training camp is probably a really good deadline for this.
Yeah. And we're going to be probably jumping on the show a lot this offseason when we see these deals get locked up, right? Because we're still waiting to hear what's going on with Brock Purdy, if that's going to get done before training camp, or, of course, still waiting for Aaron Rodgers on whether or not he's going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chase, I talked to some people in the league, and they have their theories that the Steelers know Aaron's going there. They have a handshake that he's going to be there. He just doesn't want to have to answer questions about not being at OTAs because he just wants to step away for now. Those are just theories. Then you got people who say, "Oh, you never know with Aaron Rodgers. We'll see." So I can tell you from the latest conversations I've had with Pittsburgh, the sense I get is they feel good it's happening, but I don't think that they feel like this is a done deal. So take that for what it is. Let's get to the biggest story of this past weekend, which is the retirement of Derek Carr after 11 seasons. He spent 9 seasons with the Raiders. He spent the last 2 years with the New Orleans Saints, and he said he was forced to retire due to that tear, to his rotator cuff. And we've talked on the show, too, that he's been dealing with that rotator cuff injury for years. But he went and saw a doctor, and they just realized, you know what, you need surgery, and you need time to rest and recover. So he gives up $30 million fully guaranteed base salary, and he's going to keep the $10 million roster bonus he earned in March. So he's also not going to seek, or the Saints will not seek to recover any of that $28.5 million signing bonus he made back in 2023. So
surprise announcement. I was not expecting this.
So why do you say that was such a surprise to you?
Well,
because we've talked about it on the show. We've talked about it. We've said
we've said it. Something's off the whole time, and even when Kellen Moore, I remember tweeting this out, and you were on it, obviously, like Kellen Moore signed, we were like, all right, who's the quarterback, right? Because even if Derek Carr was there, even though he was there, it was still like anytime a new head coach and comes in and brings a whole new staff in, has a whole offense in his head, is Derek Carr the guy to run that offense? And then he has a shoulder injury that comes out, and I think that's real. I do think he's got some rotator cuff issues, talking to some people that we know, but there's also got to be a little bit of not seeing eye to eye. Maybe we don't want to see you as a transitional quarterback. We want to get our own guy in. They drafted Tyler Shuck, number 40, second round, number 40 overall. That's a very high draft pick. And the timing of it, I think, for me, because I was up at Fox on Saturday doing some stuff, and I saw the video, and I was like, I got to make a video reaction to this. The timing of for me was post-draft. Like you couldn't, like you didn't have that in, maybe he didn't have it in his heart, right? And I think Derek Carr is one of the more underrated players of our generation a little bit. Played really well with the Raiders, obviously over 41,000 passing yards, 257 touchdowns. He's made a ton of money too, so he's set for life. But all those reasons, I'm just like, it's just, man, it's you want to celebrate the guy's career, but wish the Saints probably, I don't know if they knew going into the draft, because then does the draft look the same?
Because
Are you looking at somebody at number 9?
They do this differently. They orchestrate.
You have to
study the cues with the way they set their board.
And Dianna, if the Saints would have known this, there's 3 guys on the roster right now: Tyler Shuck, Jake Haener, and Spencer Rattler. They have 0 career wins between those 3 guys. They don't have a quarterback. It does not seem to me they're going to be going outside of the building. It's going to be you better believe that the Saints would have structured their board differently, and they're at 9. I'm not saying they're going to trade up to 1. They probably couldn't have made it, but I'm sure they would have structured their board a lot differently.
I just remember when the news came out about his injury a few weeks ago, and we discussed it on the show, and I told you and reported that I didn't talk to anyone in New Orleans who appeared shocked by it. Almost as if there was an understanding something was off. I think there was a thought that he didn't want to be there anymore. I think there was a thought that they were okay with moving on from him too. And I think retirement was probably the best way out, if that's the case for him in terms of leaving New Orleans, Because don't you think there's a world where we see Derek Carr after a full year's rest, recovered, a little time away from the game, spend some time with the family? He's only 34. Maybe come back next year, come out of retirement.
I don't know. Look, I don't know if that's a situation or not. I saw his wife and him post this, all right, first day of retirement reel on Instagram. I thought it was hilarious. Awesome, man. Congratulations. He is young. Who knows what's going on with the rotator? It was the way out of this situation, because obviously they didn't see eye to eye. But then, you're like, oh, well, why didn't somebody trade for him? Well, the second he came out with, shoulder injury, that's like a red flag in every single GM and head coach's ear. We're not trading for him, because there's some teams that need him. Like the Browns could use him. The Steelers could use him. There's some other teams, right? So it is an interesting timing, but I wish him all the best in retirement. And the retirement, too, is you might take a year off, but he has a lot of kids. He has a great family. He's a God-fearing man. It's going to be really hard to get back into the game, because you're set for life with money. Because once you take that time off, retirement, it's such a mental decision. And I've talked to some people close to him. It's hey, mentally, I couldn't put myself through this again. And that's sort of what, with me, I never played at that level, not even close. But anyone who plays a game, when you know it's time, it's man, maybe physically I can still do it, but mentally, the grind of the off season, even when you're off, you're working out, even when you're studying film, it's just all this stuff. Just the games are fun. There's 7 months of work that goes into just playing the games, though. Yeah. And it's just continually over and over again, especially if he's dealing with injury, that plays into it mentally for sure.
Yeah, I'm tired even just hearing what
it's a
his
lot.
Process would be. But then I look around the league, and we mentioned Aaron Rodgers, who's 41, 42, right? You've got Matthew Stafford. You've got these quarterbacks who are still playing. Remember, Derek Carr, before Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets, took that visit with New York.
You're right.
They almost signed Derek Carr.
That's a good point.
Then they got that sense that the whole Rodgers thing was going to go down, and he wound up going to New Orleans. So, look, I wouldn't be shocked if it's not truly over for Derek Carr. But I think for both sides in this situation, him retiring was the best thing for them.
Yeah.
$30 million is a lot of money to walk away.
Change.
And I know everybody keeps saying, well, he's made over $200 million. That's plenty of money. And you're right. But $30 million guaranteed, whew, you're ready for something different if you're walking away from that, in my opinion, Yeah. My favorite Derek Carr moment actually wasn't even on the field, and I covered plenty of his games. It was after the Henry Ruggs situation. Do you remember it all happened and he was asked about it in the press conference, and it was obviously an absolutely devastating scenario. People died. All of it was terrible. And he was the first person I heard say out loud, we need to pray for Ruggs.
Yeah, we need to really put him in our thoughts. Yeah.
And I was like, I remember watching it on TV when he did it, thinking, I never once even thought about Henry Ruggs in that moment.
Yeah.
I was so bothered, annoyed, heartbroken, crushed. The whole situation was so gross. And you forgot in that moment that, yes, he did a terrible thing, but I'll never forget that strength from Derek when no one was willing to go out there and make Henry Ruggs part of the conversation from a place of we should all keep him in our thoughts. So to me, that was always something I'll never forget about Derek Carr. So we will see. We will continue to watch your wife's reels, and we'll see how much you enjoy running around with those kids. I can do it for about a day. Hopefully you got a whole year.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so we got the schedule release this week. I'm a dork. I like it. I know others think it's just annoying, but I love it just because it just gets us excited for what we're about to experience in the next few months. But we already got the first one, the Eagles hosting the Cowboys to open the 2025 season, right? Eagles, Cowboys, doesn't surprise me that that's what they picked.
No. Look, death, taxes, Cowboys on prime time. Like, that's just exacts and realistic in life. Like, they love to play. It was no surprise. The interesting thing to me is you have a really good NFC East. I think the Cowboys are going to be better than 7 wins for sure. But how is the Brian Schottenheimer bonanza going to get kicked off? How is the offense going to be the same? How's Dak going to look? How's that new look defense going to be? How's the new defense coordinator? And then the Eagles are the Eagles, right? They're the best team in the NFL right now going into the season, but they lost some pieces on defense, right? And you put the Cowboys, Eagles. I mean, it's like the first time since 2000 that the Eagles and the Cowboys have faced off in week 1, and the Eagles mollywopped them like 41-14 in 2000. So it's an interesting game this season. And look, all games are not created equal. An NFC matchup with the Cowboys at the Eagles on Thursday, it's just built different. It matters. And I mean, there might be 50 million people watching this freaking game. It's gonna be amazing.
Each other 132 times. The Cowboys have the advantage, 74 to 58. The Cowboys also have the edge in the playoffs over the Eagles. That surprised me.
Well,
3-1 all time. I mean, it makes sense when you
Eagles
actually
just
stop
lately
and go through it. Yeah. It's just I'm just thinking.
You know what's an interesting stat too? Now that you're bringing up numbers, it got my math mind working. In opening games of the season, week 1, Jalen Hurts 4-0. He's perfect. Hadn't lost a game. They start really fast in all those games. That's just how he plays. Dak Prescott is 4-5 in 9 games. So that goes into it. I don't think he starts as fast. I think this is Eagles all the way.
Huh. I love that you're making picks already. Here we
Always.
go. We're making picks in May.
Yeah, and that's what NFL schedulers like.
It's the best.
You took May. May was our only month to not have anything. And what did you do? You made this 2-3 day thing. Just they own everything. It's crazy.
I don't want to put this out there because I hate doing this every year, and I feel like I used to do it to the Chiefs all the time because they were always winning. But I am curious about the Super Bowl hangover. I'm starting that convo now because, I see the Eagles guys. They're everywhere right now. They're still having the time of their life. I got Saquon at the Met Gala. Did you see him? Did you see him in that tux?
Yeah.
He looked great.
Saquon's living his best life. New offensive coordinator, too. People don't understand. Kevin Patula takes over. That's I don't think it's an easy job. You just want to call the play of Saquon. It's a lot more in depth than that, so that might give me a little bit of pause. But the Eagles are just built, so well. It's crazy.
Yeah. My boys were on the swing on Mother's Day, and Kevin was pushing them while we were at the table with, all my family. Most of my family, they're Jets, Giants fans. And my boys are just screaming the Eagles fight song on top of their lungs.
Let's go.
Just, because I can't really talk. But they know the song so well. And I could just, I could see my brother just looking at me like, is this what we're going to be doing? Is this what we're doing? We have to love them?
Eagles fans.
Is this something we got to deal with? And I wanted to be like, please, this is tame. You should see them in the house when they do it. We'll be hearing a lot more of it. All right, still to come, the rookies. They have reported for a mini camp. They are all over my Twitter feed. They are all over Instagram. Everybody wants to see what Shedeur Sanders looks like in this Browns uniform, what he looks like in a Kevin Stefanski offense. We've got some answers. Let's talk about it next. All right, back here on Scoop City, where we've got rookie mini camp underway, and every single team is doing their best to let their fans know that their top draft picks have absolutely dazzled at practice. What do you make of these rookie mini camps right now? What can we learn from them? Can we learn anything?
No. I mean, maybe, but not really. Look, it's rookie mini camp. People understand, like, there's like most teams have an average of 6 draft picks. Well, there's 22 guys on the field at the same time, so you need tryout guys. And you need free agent guys and your draft picks. And maybe there might be some second-year guys, but I remember my first rookie minicamp, and it's like a glorified college scrimmage. I mean, half the guys don't know what they're doing. The vets aren't there, have no idea. So, look, I think with some of these rookies, they should look the way they look. They better not look bad, right? But I don't think you can say anything if they look good. If they look bad, maybe they're not. But overall, it's like, come on, it's 2 days.
So in Cleveland, Dylan Gabriel got the first team reps, and Kevin Stefanski was asked by reporters, like, "What's up with that?" And he's like, "There shouldn't be too much reading into this thing." I mean, inside. He's
already getting questions. Can you imagine his annoyance? In week 5, once the Browns are 2-2, who's going to be the starter? Well, what about Shedeur? Well, what about Dylan? I mean, this is the type of stuff that a guy like Kevin Stefanski is going to have to deal with all year long. And it's rookie minicamp in May. Dianna, wait till October. Wait till November.
And he's amazing at keeping it very in the middle. But he'll snap at some point. Like, he's got it in him.
How could he not?
It's annoying. I know, but this is part of the experience, right? Of when you draft a player like Shedeur, who said, "My job isn't to prove people wrong. I'm proving myself right."
I actually love that quote, by the way.
Yeah.
I actually loved it, and I know this wasn't. We were going to talk about this, but when you have a mindset like that, like watching him, and I didn't really watch the on-field play. It was all over Twitter. It was all over Instagram. I watched how he interacted with his teammates. I watched how he interacted with the media. I saw the picture where he was right in the middle and the other guys were like flashing the Shedeur. I saw all that. He seems more grounded, more serious, very focused. Maybe a little humble. But you know what? I was thinking about this, and I said this earlier to somebody that I was talking ball with. It's a complete 180 from what he said in the combine, right? If you don't want to change your culture and your team, then don't draft me. It's a complete 180, and I really do think this is Shedeur who he is. Like this is a great vision of, like, one, good PR, right? Like, and two, like, good team. When you get around your team, it's like I've actually heard nothing but great things about Shedeur from a teammate perspective, but it's really cool to see. Like, he's like, man, like I probably should have went in the first round. I went in the 5th round. Forget all that. All that matters is work from here. I just thought that was really cool.
I'm so glad that you brought up what these young rookies are saying, because I spoke to a head coach who has been pulling all the quotes from what the rookies have been saying from even before the draft, so combine. And what he's been doing is presenting these quotes to the team to show what you shouldn't say to the media. So a lot of this experience is also media training. Here are the rules. Yeah. Here are our expectations. And don't say dumb things like this. Don't talk about yourself like that. Don't say you're going to break this record. Don't say that you're going to change an organization. Just talk about your teammates and talk about whatever question you're getting asked, and answer it respectfully. So I love that idea that what we don't see behind the scenes is a lot of teaching these young players how to be an NFL player and how to deal with the media and all the attention and what's out there about each of them, because they are getting tons of attention. Every
team, I mean, you hit it, and I forget about it because I was already well versed in the media, but they offer media training. They absolutely, like, there's these rookie, like, they call it, it's not symposium, that's the wrong word, these rookie workshops. Yes. So during OTAs, the vets will come in, say, like, when on the field work starts. I think the veterans will be in from like 8 to 1. just call it 8-1, right? There's 5 hours. I don't know what the rules are right now. But then the rookies, there's like no cap time with them. So they'll be 8-1 with the vets, and then they'll start doing these like rookie workshops from like 1:30 or 2 to like 5. And it's like every single day, Monday through Friday, and they'll go over like financial planning. They'll go over media workshop. They'll go over all the things that don't pertain to your on the field. It's the developmental program that each team has. And I think that's really cool. I remember as a rookie, like it was awesome because, you don't really know what you don't know in the NFL. You see all this big money and all this stuff and okay, what does my contract actually say? And what is what's the rules on finance and what's the rules on this and all media training? It's just really, really cool. I've been on the teams that do it really, really well.
Okay, now that you've done both though, now that you've been a player and now that you're in the media, what do you think's a good, valuable piece of advice that you would give the rookies if you were addressing them, or maybe something a coach could share?
Yeah. I was on the phone with somebody today that was talking about this. It's so funny you asked this. That was talking about this very thing. And it was a sideline reporter for a network. And she mentioned talking to me and remembering me when I started and in production meetings and just how easygoing I was, how I would tell stories. She's like, a lot of people aren't like that. We could just tell you had good stories. If you got in the media, you would kill it. You would do this just because you're, and I don't say that because, these guys don't really matter, but like everything you do matters. Everything you say matters. Every relationship you have, every person, because when I'm in those, I can't wait to get out.
Exactly. It's one of like, 50 things you have to do.
Yeah. And it's
these
just
are
like
people's jobs, right? Like that sideline reporter, what you're sharing with her.
Yeah. And you leave impressions on people a lot easier than maybe what you think, even if they don't leave impressions on you. And so I think
Jackson Dart was asking the media members their names.
Yeah, that was cool.
Hey, I'm going to be talking to you all the time. I would like to get to know you. If you could just that was a nice touch of just like, hey, we're going to be around each other. I'm probably already reading some of the things you're writing about me. I think I feel like your point is to make sure you're being appreciative that the people that are interviewing you or talking to you have jobs, A, but B, they're forming judgment on this very short interaction. And I'll add to that. They are forming judgment, but the media is powerful. Without the media, this game would not be the way it is because there'd be nobody that covers it and the attention that it gets. So right, wrong, and different, the media can portray you certain ways, right, wrong, and different, right? You make impressions on them. So just try to make a good impression on everyone. It would be my thing. I'd say some of the best players I ever covered, and it's funny, usually it's the bigger the star, the more I've seen this because they're probably a little bit more comfortable in their skin. Just a simple, how are you back? Yeah. Do you know how many players I'll say, how are you doing? And they're like, cool, thanks. And just keep on walking. It's like,
yeah.
Okay. Like last time I checked, I'm a person. Like, and I don't even mean that it has to be like this in-depth friendship, but I always, like, Patrick Mahomes is king of, how are you doing? How are the kids? Like, he doesn't spend a million hours.
Yeah,
he just asks a couple normal questions, knowing a little bit about me from all the years. I think that always stands out.
Makes the media feel noticed. And it's real. You got to play the game. It's not feeling
noticed. It's being respected, right?
Yeah, respect, but not notice, meaning like, hey, we understand you. You have a job. You're a person, though. Like, you're a person.
Yes.
Like we notice you as your mom. Correct. Like, also, you're doing this, but yeah.
Yes, but I also think there's this idea with a lot of players that the media is out to get them all the time. And there's some truth there. Like, you got to be careful. You have to be savvy. I remember Saquon Barkley when he was younger. He did a really good job of really avoiding some booby traps where I could see when I was in the scrum with him, people were asking questions. Even I was doing it too at times where you want them to step in.
Some leading questions.
Right? Some leading questions, some things to get them to open up a little bit more. Look, I think coaches that take pride and are putting time into making sure that the players are respecting each other and respecting the organization and their team is a big part of teams that are trying to find themselves and figure out what their identity is going to be. The messaging is important.
Yeah.
Right?
Every word matters. Every word.
We don't talk about this.
Every word matters.
Like, Sean Payton's we don't talk about injuries, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you got to know those.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I asked him in an interview once.
Yeah, it's
he
hates that.
I think there's still a cut in my neck from him.
Competitive advantage is his whole thing.
The game was starting in an hour. He didn't talk to me for a while after that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. So, also, real quick before we go, Travis Hunter, did you see the post? So he was flying, and there was a woman next to him who was flying from Denver to Jacksonville. And he helped her with her luggage. He sounded like he was just outrageously respectful. She had no idea who he was. And again, I guess after having some, time to talk on this flight, she discovered, oh my goodness, this is Travis Hunter, who nothing but incredible things about him. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
just
I'm
a
not
good
surprised.
dude.
But she tweets out how great it was to sit with him and how respectful and how proud she was. Just so cool. She's gonna be a fan for life.
Yeah,
but I also
totally.
think he collected a lot more fans just from that post of look. You never. It goes back to this theme that you just said, which is everyone's watching you right now. Life has changed.
Everyone has a phone, right? And it used to not be that way when we were in college and stuff. And now it's completely changed. I just like that he helped her with the overhead luggage, the tray table, and just
awesome.
He just seems like a great dude. Like he just seems like a great dude.
I don't want Travis Hunter to be my answer this whole offseason when we talk about things we're looking forward to, but I'm just
I like it.
Taking some ownership of that right now. I'm just letting you know we're going to be talking about
He's
him a
your
lot
new
this summer.
Houston Texans, huh?
Yeah, he's my new Houston Texans. He's my new Justin Jefferson. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, the Tennessee Titans are doing a little rock, paper, scissors, shoot. We're going to talk all about it next. All right, back here in Scoop City. So the great part of this time of year is, I think, while these rookies are getting to know each other and the veterans will start joining them soon, everyone's learning each other and they're trying to let loose. All right, so I know that I know one team where the rookies are learning and getting tested who the veterans are on their team.
Oh,
right,
yeah. Gotta know.
Like showing up photos and I just love all these.
I can guarantee you who that is.
I think that's so funny.
Yeah. There's just certain head coaches that
the detailed ones
do that kind of stuff. Yeah.
The detailed psychos are the ones who are like, you must name every player on this team, which I'm down for. But did you see the Titans? Rocks, paper, scissors, shoot. They're playing out there on the field, just trying to keep it light.
Rock, paper, scissors,
is it plural?
shoot.
Is it
yes,
rock,
paper.
Scissors, or rocks, paper, scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I feel like we could have a whole conversation. People from different regions do this differently too. So in New Jersey, you do rock, paper, scissors, shoot. In some places, they don't do that. They do rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Then it's
some people do it rock, paper, scissors, and then on the third one they do it.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're normal.
I'm a shoot guy.
Yeah, let's do a shoot guy. Ready? Really quick. Ready? Rocks, paper, scissors, shoot.
Gotcha. Boom. Ha ha. Yeah.
You just
and
said
I'm
you did
usually
rock, and you
I
did
know. I did rock.
Yeah, but I can't do paper. Paper makes me nervous.
And usually we won't do it right now, but usually it's a best 2 out of 3 always. People that only do one pisses me off. It's best 2 out of 3 always.
Oh, see, I'm more of a one and done.
No,
we do that. We do it in our house for chores all the time. I win all the time.
What's your go-to?
Stinks. My go-to chore. My go-to rock, paper, scissors. I just told you, scissor. My scissor. Nice. So look, the Titans. I know I have plenty of jokes because I used to have a love affair with the Titans because I just loved Derek Henry when he was there. But look, they've got a whole new setup, a new roster. They've got a new quarterback in Cam Ward. I mean, when you've talked about Cam Ward, even just with your Fox show, when you're talking about him in terms of the other quarterbacks, like what is even your expectation for him?
That's a great question because he was the one quarterback that I saw that I just really dove into and broke down that I love the most. I just think that he has the it factor. He has the special arm. He has that one thing physically that you can't coach, and that's what I want in a number one pick, right? Like you can have all the external factors and this and that and you got to have one or two things that we can't coach for you to be that level. And it's his arm. It's his arm strength, his arm talent, his accuracy, his arm, all this stuff. And for him, the expectations are high. I mean, look, Brian Callahan, his expectations are high. Like they got to win. And they got to win now, like new GM. But I do think that they're going to be better than some people think. Do I think that he has a supporting cast around him to have a Jaden Daniels type year? No, I don't. But it's a winnable division. Right. And look, I know the Texans are in there. They're going to be a lot better. The Colts, right. All those teams will be better. If their defense can play enough to let him play well enough early in the season to let Cam just get those first 4 or 5 games out of you, get the jitters out, figure out the type of player you want to be. If he can get on a roll, man, who knows what can happen.
I feel like I've become the AFC South girl on this show, right? It's like I love Travis Hunter. Yeah. I love the Texans. I'm all in on the Titans. What's going on? This is when you're starting to. We have too much time on our hands. I
do like the Texans this year a lot.
Oh no! Oh, look who's back.
Seriously, I do. I think they're going to be sleepy, like really good, really good.
Someone from Houston texted me, by the way. You said something about them recently, and they tripled down on what you said, like an agreement. So that was cool. So shout out Houston Texans people listening to the Scooper.
Shout out Houston Texans.
All right, so we got a big week coming up. We got the schedule release for the 2025 NFL season coming up. So next show, we'll dive into it. We'll pick our games we're looking forward to, where we would travel to if we had an opportunity. So we'll break the whole thing down as really one of the highlights of the season is about to go down in just a few days. So that'll do it for us here on Scoop City. Make sure you subscribe to our Scoop City newsletter. It's easy. All you got to do is put your email in. Pops right in your email every morning. We tell you everything you need to know around the league every day. So all you got to do is read it. You don't even have to go anywhere else. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And, of course, subscribe if you are listening to us. Leave some comments. We're going to try to probably get to another mailbag at some point over the next few weeks. We know you guys really enjoyed that. So shout out to all those people that participated. So start thinking about what your question wants to be, what you want your question to be, and hopefully Chase and I can dive into it with you, and we will get those answers to you. So that'll do it for us in this episode. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys. Tag me next time.
Thanks for tuning into Scoop City. If you want to hear more, make sure you like and subscribe. We drop our new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.